Okay, so today I want to revisit a game called Kingdom Come Deliverance. There are a few reasons for this. Number one, it is a fantastic game that I covered some time ago and has since only gotten better. Despite a rocky and fairly glitchy launch, the game has improved drastically on top of what was already a wonderfully unique base foundation, so now feels like a great time to revisit since the experience is now streamlined and polished. Number two, there is a large sale for the game going on with our partner CHRONO.GG for the next 24 hours, which is discounting both the game and its DLC. The footage right now in the background says Frostpunk, I know. That's because it's old footage and the site is now featuring Kingdom Come Deliverance. The way Chrono works is they reach out to developers directly and then creators to run a limited time discount, which allows YouTubers or streamers or whatever to promote the games that they feel a connection to. It's a different game every day or so, and they have this big schedule posted, which I and other partners can browse, and when we see a game that comes along that I've covered in the past or know a great deal about, and I want to promote that game, I can then choose to do just that. I absolutely loved Kingdom Come Deliverance. It was fantastic, and I covered it extensively on the channel, so when I saw the game popping up for a flat 40% discount, I knew it was pretty much the right time to revisit the title. Kingdom Come Deliverance, above all else, takes risks. A lot of them. But this is an instance of risk paying off. Henry, the main character, begins his journey as an absolute weakling, with no training, no gear, and no reputation. But over time, you build this lowly peasant character up to massive heights of influence and importance. I won't spoil actual story plot points because it's a very well crafted narrative. When I first played at launch, it was hard to experience the story because of numerous glitches or quest bugs, but now the game has been ironed out and offers a much more cohesive experience. The game has far more depth than most other contemporary RPGs on the market right now. The skill system allows for hours and hours of exploration into certain professions, and I remember one of the more interesting events in my entire playthrough was figuring out how to read, which may sound dumb, but it was really important. Learning to read and then reaping the rewards of a higher education, which let me delve further into certain connected skills like alchemy, for instance. The game does a wonderful job of constructing an open world that allows the freedom of choice and opportunity, but does not use artificial barriers like level requirement or something similar to that. Since your character trains over time with experience strictly through action, almost all areas and nearly all weapons, gear, or items are available from the moment you finally are let loose into the world. You can equip a powerful bow, but if you have never trained your arms and built up your strength and your archery or other skill stats that are relevant, it will be very hard for you to actually use that bow effectively. On the one hand, the ability to use anything at any time, regardless of whether or not you have the proficiency to maximize its effectiveness, is fantastic. But on the other hand, for some players, it may be a shock since many competing games simply have a flat level requirement. And when you get to that level, that item is available and perfectly usable. The game does feature an optional hardcore mode that turns up the difficulty to maximum. Full disclosure here, that was too difficult for me. I didn't really find myself enjoying it, but for those who appreciate games with real amounts of tension and investment, that is most certainly something that can be found in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Games often flirt with the line of what is or is not too realistic. Oftentimes, hyper-realism can be tedious. We don't play video games to mimic real life since real life is often slow-paced and it can be quite boring. And it lacks the type of adventure that these games offer, for most people. For me anyways, it does. Maybe some of you watching have crazy action-packed lives, but I can assure you mine is not like that. Once upon a time, I guess kinda sort of, but for these past few years, no, not at all. Kingdom Come Deliverance pulls realistic elements like eating and sleeping in, which is a risk to be sure, but does it in such a way as to build investment and attachment to the character, not cause annoyance or frustration, at least in my personal experience. The most prominent effect is an escalation of pride and accomplishment when achieving larger goals, or defeating harder enemies, and finding new and powerful armor or swords or loot. Where some games specialize in one simple combat tactic, like stealth or armored warfare, the entire game is kind of derived from those types of combat, Kingdom Come Deliverance offers many different avenues. Back when I covered the game in depth, there were stores or shops or buildings that could be robbed, but required the right method by which to break in, move unseen, and pillage the contents of the locked chests or the different vaults without raising awareness. Alternatively though, you can break in, raise the alarm, and slaughter an entire village for personal gain, but that can have lasting ramifications on the world around you. What I keep coming back to over and over when I think about it is the true scope of player choice offered. A lot of games advertise player choice and different options as being a focus, but they really aren't. It's kind of a lie. With Kingdom Come Deliverance, there are quests where you undertake an investigation, for example. You can interrogate one person, or another, or a different one, or you can go directly to a suspect's house, break in, and search that house for evidence. There are legitimately multiple ways to progress the different side quest chains, and each of those stories is wildly different based on how you choose to do so. As a result, the replay value for the game rises, whereas many other seemingly open world choice-based games do not change when played consecutive times. A point of contention I have seen discussed before regarding the game is its combat. The combat has an interesting curve to it. When you begin, you are a peasant, plain and simple. Handling a sword or a bow feels foreign and unresponsive because it is foreign and very unresponsive. Some players voice frustration at that fact and quit rather quickly, but I would urge any potential gamers who might be interested to understand that as you train, as you take the time to learn combos and actual swordplay feats, the combat blooms into a system that rewards skill heavily. Timing and finesse are all prioritized, and it is tremendously rewarding to master the combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Not a lot of games can boast in that way. A pretty standard benchmark I've always referenced when asked if a game is worth the purchase or not is the number of hours players get out of it when compared directly to its purchase price, provided of course they like the material enough to keep playing. The base Kingdom Come Deliverance story can be anywhere from 40 to 60 hours quite easily. If a player rushes through, maybe slightly less. Though to get through faster than that, it would, in my honest opinion, require someone to look up guides or have pre-existing knowledge of how and where quests like that take you, because the exploration and discovery is very highly emphasized. If you really take your time and do what I did, and what many other players did as well, considering how well the world is built for it, if you take your time and explore alternative side activities, romance, bounty hunting, and more, the game can easily take over 100 hours. And this is all excluding the DLC, which involves rebuilding a town, managing its structure and growth, and much, much more. The game also has mythical treasures to be found, legendary armor, and items whose lore has been spread through the land, but not in some sort of artificially inflated power level way, as in most games where magic and fantasy reign supreme. With everything grounded in reality for Kingdom Come Deliverance, it avoids some of the problems where games encounter power creep or enemy scaling issues. The idea that players must be getting progressively stronger all the time, while the world around them also changes and gets stronger, it can increase the difficulty, but it leads to a lot of balancing problems. Since dual scaling can be so difficult, Kingdom Come Deliverance avoids this issue by placing a peasant boy in an open world. As he gains strength, the world around him remains, building up your own sense of progression even further as you witness how NPCs react to you, what they say, why they say it, and in the end, as you near the final hours, you have become a truly song-worthy, ballad-worthy, bard-praise-worthy knight with all the titles, the wealth, and the loot to go along with it. The game feels truly rewarding to play, but it's also important for anyone out there considering the purchase to be very, very sure. There is no magic, no fantasy, no dragons or sorcerers or mythological creatures. The game is based on medieval Bohemia, reflecting the culture and events of that time period, so expectations must be reasonable, otherwise a player risks potential disappointment if they go in expecting something like Skyrim. In a modern game industry where titles often blend together, they piggyback off of trends and take no risks whatsoever, Kingdom Come Deliverance and Warhorse Studios, the developer responsible for the game, took risks and made something with its own sense of self. The game has a clear identity and deserves to be commended for that fact. With any game out there comes a spritz of controversy. The game was accused of a racist narrative by not including diversity in a medieval Bohemian landscape. I won't dissect the ethnic population distribution at the contemporary time because, for starters, it would be a massive undertaking, and I am no expert on that subject. But all signs I have found point to this being relatively historically accurate, though perhaps not an absolute certainty, and it was done with no possible ill will or conscious bias. If anything, that burst of tension at and surrounding launch just brought more publicity to the game, and while some came for the potential controversy, many also stayed for the unique, rewarding, and ambitious game that it is. A common tactic nowadays for a lot of players is to wait until after a game has launched to look at it and purchase it, because they often do launch in unfinished, glitchy, and buggy states, with holes in their content and further work definitely needed. This is somewhat true of Kingdom Come Deliverance, but the necessary time has passed, and all of those issues have been fixed. Now, the game is deserving of nearly any gamer's time, and also, it popped up on the schedule at chrono.gg and has a hefty 40% discount for the next day. There is a link down below to the CHRONO site. Using it will support the Upper Echelon channel. I am sponsored by their platform. There's no pretense here. If you decide you like Kingdom Come Deliverance, I personally do, and I feel like a lot of gamers out there might as well. If you decide you like it and you purchase it, I do get a commission. But on the list of potential sponsors, one that gives gamers huge discounts on good games, and one that also gives me the freedom to choose what and when I partner up for is, well, that's really a no-brainer, and I felt like it was something that benefits everyone, so that's why I'm incorporating it onto the channel. I will most certainly be keeping an eye on the CHRONO schedule, and if or when it lines up again with the channel's expertise in past games in a positive way, I will revisit more titles. But until then, feel free to bookmark the link below and check for yourself every few days in case you see a game that you like and end up getting a steal bargain for it. That's going to wrap up today's revisit. Kingdom Come Deliverance will remain in my personal top 5 games of the past few years at least. I can only hope more studios take this kind of calculated risk and achieve such prominently well-defined results. If you want to get involved with Upper Echelon, feel free to check out the links down below, Discord, Facebook, our gaming forums, and some more stuff coming soon, but I'll stop there and I'll cut the rambling. As always, thank you very much for watching, and have a nice night.